right. Welcome. If you are watching this, was intended for our interns at Revival Revival Youth. But if you're not one of our interns, that's totally okay. You can watch us. I think this will be encouraging for you, especially if you're interested in leadership of any kind. And me and my wife are away. And so we are doing a video for our interns just to encourage them in the last bit of their internship. So today what we're talking about is we're kind of recapping some questions and some that we had for our interns going into this. And if you're our interns, then this is for you. We're wanting to encourage you in leadership. And we kind of talked last time about some stuff, the way you answered, and a lot of the things that I was getting from you guys is that you had a heart for leadership, you have a heart for people, but also kind of struggling with maybe the positions and where you're at right now, the things that you might be dealing with in the moment, and kind of what I kind of got was us, the mentality of getting ourselves ready to then get into leadership when really God encourages us to walk by faith and to trust Him with everything, 100%. And even if we don't feel like we're super equipped for leadership, when we have faith in Him, He equips us. And so it seems backwards that we're not prepared, but yet we're trusting in Him. And by doing that, even if we're not prepared, we are prepared because we're relying on Him. And a lot of times, if it's the other way around, if you have confidence in your own ability and you have confidence in yourself and you're prideful about your relationship with God or where you're at or all these different things, a lot of times those can be negative to you in your life because if you're so caught up in what you know and what you can bring to the table, then it's actually going to work against you because it's going to be you speaking and not Jesus speaking to people and you doing all the work and not God doing all the work. And so this doesn't mean that it gives us permission to just do whatever the heck we want and not be prepared, because I truly do believe in the saying that preparing to fail or failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And I've carried that with me through ministry, but there have been times to where I felt unprepared, even though that I feel like I have trusted God. I feel like I had devoted time to getting something for a specific ministry opportunity. Like I felt like I prayed about it, but I just felt unprepared. And I remember in those times just having to say, God, I trust you. And this can't be me anyway. I'm going to lean on you. God, you come and you do what you're going to do. And I'm going to rely on you. I mean, I as much as I prepared doesn't make me actually prepared to carry what God wants to bring. And so always trust in Him 100%. And I just want to encourage you, because this kind of ties into what I'm going to give you, some encouragement that I'm going to give you through Luke chapter 22, verse 35 through 38. And I'm going to go ahead and read that. It was Jesus talking to His disciples, and it's kind of this little section's titled Supplies for the Road. So he says to them, when I sent you without money bags, knapsacks, and sandals, did you lack anything? They said no. They said nothing. Then He said to them, but now he who has a money bag, let him take it, and likewise a knapsack, and he who has no sword, let him sell his garment to buy one. For I say to you that this which is written must still be accomplished in me. And he was numbered with the transgressors, for the things concerning me have an end. So they said, Lord, look, here are 2 swords. And He said to them, it is enough. And so he was basically saying to them, take these things, take a money sack, take that, but you don't need to have these things. Like, be prepared that you're going to receive. Be prepared for the work that He's going to have for you, and be prepared for the work that He has in front of you. But remember that you don't need to create something on your own. You don't need to be prepared in the sense of like having all these things. God just says, just be prepared to receive. Be prepared that you're going to, be prepared. But at the same, in your mind, know but don't put so much pressure on that, because remember that I am going to take care of things for you. I'm going to go ahead of you. Even if you took nothing, I would still provide for you, and I would still take care of things for you. And so Jesus will give you what you need, not always what you want. What we want is to be secure. What we want is to know the ending. What we want is to know everything. We want to know all of that. But he's like, don't put your faith in that. Don't lean on that. And so I want to encourage you, especially you interns, as you move on from this internship, is to, as you go out and you do ministry and as you talk with people, is to know that it's not all on you to do all of those things. And I know we talked about this a little bit last time, but just be encouraged that it's not all on you, that you have to rely on God. You know, you want to spend time with Jesus because you want to have a relationship with him, and you want encouragement from him, even just for your own life. But through that, you're getting those words from God, or you're getting encouragement from God. So we still can sometimes feel like completely unequipped, when Jesus in the Bible encouraged people to intentionally be unequipped so that he could do the equipping. And so it's okay to feel unprepared sometimes. Just be honest with God with where you're at. Don't try to fake it. Don't try to make anything up. Just trust him and be honest. And God honors honesty. He really does. And so trust him and trust what he's going to do through you. I'm not going to make this super long, but I just want to encourage you guys with this so much, that you need to live a little bit uncomfortable. You need to be a little bit uncomfortable. And it's okay. Comfort can be a dangerous thing, because when you get comfortable, then you eventually don't want to move anymore. If you can get comfortable in one spot, you stop moving once you become comfortable. And I know that it's hard sometimes, because our mindset, we want to just be comfortable and feel whatever, but God brings a comfort, but he doesn't allow you to get comfortable in a place. So God will comfort you, God will bring you peace in your life, but he's not going to allow you to get comfortable in the sense of like you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to stay in this spiritual bed where you're never going to get out of it, and you're just going to stay in this place. The world will do things. It's funny how it's like physically and kind of spiritually connect here, is that if you've ever had anxiety, or if you've ever had problems at school or whatever, sometimes you just want to stay in bed because it's a comfortable, safe place. But at the same time, you and me both know that as much as that sounds nice, as much as sometimes it feels nice, it's not going to get you anywhere. Eventually, you're going to go, I have to get up. I have to do something. I have to either go to school, I have to go to my work, I have to be able to make money, I have to do this in my life. And same spiritually, is we can't stay in this place where we're comfortable, because we stop moving, we stop growing, we stop doing things. And so challenging yourself. I mean, these older people in the Bible, they were continuously moving. They were continuously doing stuff. And they do say, like, in a health-wise, when you stop moving is when you really start deteriorating. As an older person, they say the best thing in the world is for you to walk. It's the best thing in the world for your back is to just walk. And a lot of times we think that it's not saying to overexert yourself. It's not saying to go lift weights. It's not saying to do anything crazy. It's simply saying to walk. And Jesus is just encouraging you, just walk. Keep walking forward. Trust me. And the enemy's going to try to get you to be comfortable. The enemy's going to try to draw you back, but don't listen to that. Trust him, and trust him that even if you feel like you're unable to, take that first step and trust in him. And then eventually you're going and you're going and you're going. A lot of times, the times that I don't want to like work out or anything like that, when I do, or if I get up early and go do something, that jogs my day, like gets my day jump started. And then I just have this energy and I just want to keep moving. There's things in your life that you can do that it might be hard at first, but to take that step and you're just trusting. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you have the energy to move, and God gives you the energy and blesses you with the energy. And so God is going to bless you, and he will see you through all of these things. And one thing we also have to remember, which I believe I touched on this last time and talked about a little bit, is it's not about us. It's not about us. And again, some of the questions that were provided to you and the answers that I got, I'm not saying that there was selfishness. I think that we all deal with selfishness on a level. Doesn't matter who we are. I'm not saying selfishness in the sense of like 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 an angry or selfishness that people make us think about, like selfish in a really bad way. I'm just saying that selfish sometimes in a good intentional kind of way is like, I need to be prepared in order to do this, or I need to put myself in a place to where I can actually be effective in ministry, or be a loving person, or be more of this way. But and it's looking at ourselves, thinking we need to work on that first before we can do something else. When it's selfish, but it's not selfish in what we think as far as like a bad selfish, but it's all still selfishness that can lead into each other. And so we have to be careful with that. And we have to remember that even in the good ways of the good intentions of being selfish, we have to realize that it's not about us. And we have to seek selflessness and seek Jesus and go, you know what? I don't know if I'm prepared. I want to be prepared. I want this in my life. But God, I'm going to surrender it to you. And I'm going to trust you and let you grow me rather than me grow me. And so just encouraging you guys with that. We know we're relying on God. And we put too much pressure on ourselves if we don't. Like, if we're not relying on God, we're just putting too much pressure on ourselves, on everything going right. But it's like it doesn't really matter, because if we put it on God, then He's got the outcome. He's got it, and we can trust Him. And we should always have hope in that, and just hope in who He is. And it's not all on you. It's not all on you. So if that encourages you in leadership, then just lean on Him. Avoiding burnout. I wanted to touch on this before I let you guys go with this. Is I would say dying to yourself is a huge thing. We talked about this last time. Dying to yourself, and what that means is kind of working to kill that inner desire for all these things. To be comfortable and to try to improve ourselves in some way, rather than being content and trusting God and just continuously running after Him. But we get burnt out. A lot of times our burnout comes from us trying to do everything, or us feeling obligated when God's like, trust me. Listen to Him. Listen to Him when He tells you to take a step back. There's been times in Melanie's and I's life where we wanted to do something out of love for people, but we're thinking like, how can we help these people? How can we do more for them? And we've then decided to take something on that was probably not God's idea, or maybe He wanted us to hand it to somebody else, but we just were like, so it was out of good intentions, but it was out of our way of what thinking. It was good intentions, good ideas to help people, but it wasn't necessarily, we weren't handing it off like we should have, and we were burning ourselves out. God cares about you. God doesn't want you to burn yourself out. You have to trust Him. You have to trust other people with Him. Just because you get excited and you want to help people doesn't mean that specific thing is what you're supposed to be doing right now. You got to trust Him, because He also is the God of their lives too. And you can't feel obligated for everybody. That can really be a selfish thing, because you feel responsible. You have to shift that responsibility to God. There was a time in my life where I was transitioning from jobs, and I felt guilty because of all these people that I knew, that I spoke to, that I saw on a daily basis. And I remember my pastor telling me something. He says, you don't build the church, God builds the church. And these people that I thought I was ministering to and everything, and I was ministering to them. But it's like, God will build the church. God will encourage their heart. Maybe you planted seeds or whatever. Maybe God's going to position somebody else to speak to them. Or God's going to still use you. Maybe the time you get passing by, you may not see them as often, but when you do see them, who knows what's going to happen. And so God can use you no matter what. And so don't feel obligated for everything, but serve and trust Him, and just serve, and just wherever you can. And I think you'll find yourself not being as burnt out as quickly when you don't feel like you're responsible for everything, and you trust God with a lot of it and all of it. And just serve. and have fun serving, enjoy serving. And then when God plugs you into a specific spot, give it your all and trust him and lean on him for everything. And God's going to use you mightily. God's going to use you in leadership or wherever you go if you have that attitude. And it becomes less about you and all about him. And so I just wanted to encourage you guys with that. Trust him and be encouraged as you go into leadership. And I thank you guys for listening to this, and hopefully you guys got some good notes, and we will see you guys next week.